If you are thinking about traveling to the Philippines soon, watch this video.
When are we going to understand that we are put on earth to love?
What's up, y'all? My name is Brian B. Hamilton. I am a digital nomad. I am a full-time traveler. I am a fitness enthusiast. I've been traveling around the world nonstop with my beautiful girlfriend, D. So this channel is for digital nomads, fitness enthusiasts, people who just want to travel the world, Black travelers. If this resonates with you, this is your community. I am your community. Let's connect, let's build, let's grow. So this video is going to be my overall review of the Philippines. I was in the Philippines for 2 weeks, an amazing country, but majority of my time was in Manila, I'm not even gonna lie. So it's gonna be very Manila concentrated, but I did have a friend who was traveling during that time, and he traveled to a lot of different places, but I'm not gonna really talk about that. I'm just gonna touch on that. Majority of it's gonna be about Manila. So when you land in Manila, you're immediately gonna see the chaos. You're immediately gonna see just how massive this city is. It's very similar to Bangkok in that way. It's just a massive city, a lot of people, a lot of traffic. And it is very, very hot. So if you don't like that type of weather, I love that type of weather. If you don't like that type of weather, Manila is not for you. It is hot, humid, scorching, but it's a good hot though, if you like that type of weather. So the two main places that majority of people stay, now there's other places, but the two main places that majority of people stay, especially as a traveler, tourist, is Makati or the BGC. So I didn't stay in Makati, but I definitely visited there. I walked around, I went to the restaurants, I saw the vibe, I saw the energy. Makati is very, very modern. A lot of high rises, a lot of condos with nice amenities, pools, gyms, all that good stuff. Beautiful restaurants. I believe a lot of the clubs are over there as well. Beautiful area, nice restaurants, grocery stores, shops, malls. Everything you need is in Makati. I stay in the BGC, which is like next level. The BGC is stunning, beautiful, modern, clean. You don't feel like you're in the Philippines, if that makes sense. You feel like you're probably in Europe or in the US or in some places in Canada or maybe in Australia. It is a very modern vibe, very built up, very beautiful, had everything that I needed. I am a fitness enthusiast, as I said. I'm also an IFBB pro, so I compete as a natural bodybuilder. So when I travel, I need to be in spaces where I have access to the things that I need, supplements, protein, grocery stores, all that good stuff. So the BGC definitely had that. Ticked off every box. I promise you, it is worth it. If you go to Manila, you gotta go to the BGC. Even if you don't stay there, you just gotta see. So in regards to accommodations, how are the accommodations? The accommodations were cool. Like, I had some good things about the accommodations and not so good. So the accommodations were very nice, beautiful, modern. I stayed in Airbnbs mostly, but also in one hotel. The Airbnbs were all modern, all very nice, had all the amenities that you would need. Gym, pool, just really nice condos. So I really liked that. The problem that I found in Manila was they had a roach problem, from what I seen. I stayed in a lot of different condos in those 2 weeks, and majority of them had roach issues. And I'm talking about really nice accommodations, really nice condos, like places that you wouldn't think would have those issues. And I do my research when I'm looking for a condo. I don't just pick an Airbnb that I feel it looks nice or has, decent reviews. I do my research. I also go above and beyond, try to get the condo name or the building name and see when the building has been built and get reviews from there as well. And majority of the reviews that I seen were solid. They were really, really good. But what I was seeing was that a lot of these Airbnb hosts, they add each other, because Airbnb is big in Manila. They add each other and they just comment on each other's stuff consistently to make sure the reviews are very high and you're not really seeing the real comments, right? I'm not saying everybody, but that does happen. So because of that, I wasn't able to really see the normal things that I see that would make me not pick a certain place, right? I need to have a very clean kitchen, as I do a lot of cooking on my own. It needs to be a space that I don't see a lot of insects, particularly roaches. I just don't do roaches, man. I just don't. I grew up in the hood. I don't want to see them. I know what you're saying. You're going to a warm environment. I've lived in warm environments. I've lived in the Caribbean. I've lived in Southeast Asia. I've lived in all these environments. I still choose to not want to see them. You know what I'm saying? So we had that issue with a lot of different condos, but majority of the hosts were very accommodating. When I told them my situation, they would, try to get me into another condo, try to put me into another space or another unit and accommodate me. But we did have our issues in regards to that. The hotels, beautiful, nice, no issues whatsoever. Again, they didn't have the kitchen, but really, really nice. No issues when it comes to insects or bugs or anything like that, or roaches. But some of the condos did. Fortunately, we found a condo towards the end of our stay that was beautiful, had no issues. It was a modern condo. It was literally across the street from the other condo that we're staying, and they looked exactly the same. And that's the thing as well. You can be in a unit that has no issues and the unit right beside it does. So you can't really, pinpoint or sometimes prepare for what might happen. So you gotta pivot and you gotta be flexible. From accommodation standpoint overall, there's a lot of different options for you to choose from, specifically in those areas if that's where you wanna stay. Now you can even stay in other areas in Manila as well, but those two areas primarily are where the tourists are gonna stay, and those are two areas that are very walkable, has everything that you need. Definitely good recommendations on two places to stay if you're visiting Manila. So as I said, I was there for 2 weeks, and what was the cost of living there when I was there? Philippines is definitely a cheaper destination when you're comparing it to other countries, for sure. It's not one of the cheaper places in Southeast Asia, comparing it to like Thailand or Vietnam, but it's still a cheap destination for sure. So when you're looking for accommodation in the two areas that I mentioned, you can get spaces anywhere between $50 to $70 USD. That's what really you're gonna see for a 1-bedroom or a studio. You can also get places that are much higher and more expensive than that. But that's more maybe for a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom or just a better looking space, right? Maybe a high rise, maybe a higher floor that you get a better view and all that good stuff. But for the most part, you can really stay between the $50 and $70 range USD, and you will be fine finding a really nice space in those areas. Food is pretty cheap as well. Grocery shopping is okay if you're staying with things from the Philippines, but once you start trying to get stuff that are not from the Philippines, it's gonna be a little bit expensive, especially if you're trying to get stuff like from the Western world. It's definitely gonna be expensive. But going out and eating, if you're eating local food, very, very cheap. If you're eating, Westernized food, still not crazy expensive, but more expensive. But it's the same thing if you go to any of those countries, to be honest. But if you stick to local food, very cheap. So what is the top things that I loved about Manila and the Philippines? One, the people. I grew up around Filipino people. Being from Toronto, I know a lot of Filipino people. I have Filipino friends, but going to the actual country sometimes can be a little different. And I will tell you, the people of the Philippines were some of the nicest people I've ever met. Whether they were rich, poor, in between, people that worked at the gym, the grocery store, walking on the street, whatever, chill, easygoing, curious, ask the right questions. I'm a big muscular guy, so a lot of places that I go, I do get stared at a lot, especially when I go to those places because they don't see many people who look like me or just look like black people in general. But because I'm a bigger guy, I do get a lot of stares. But sometimes the stares can be, not welcoming. You know what I'm saying? They can be not intimidating. I don't really get intimidated that easy, but more so that it's like, it doesn't look like a welcoming stare or a curious stare. The stares were more of a curious stare. Because they smiled. They would come and ask questions. They would take pictures. They would talk to you. Why are you here? Very curious to know why I was there. So that was a good vibe to have and a very welcoming feeling. And I went to different places. I said I was staying in BGC, but I also went to the poorest neighborhood and most dangerous neighborhood in Manila as well, maybe even the Philippines. And I have a video about that you can check out on this channel as well. Even there was the same type of energy, maybe even more love there, maybe even more good vibes there, good energy. So across the board, everybody that I met was very chill, from the Uber drivers to the taxi drivers to everybody that I met was just very, very, very cool and very, very easy to get along with. The medical system was fantastic. Going to a country that I don't really understand their medical system, didn't know what their medical system was. When I was there, I had to actually get some blood work because I am a natural bodybuilder. I got my test back from a doctor in Toronto. I did some blood work there a couple weeks before traveling to the Philippines. While I was there, he sent me my test and my coach was like, hey, I think you should get a second opinion. I'm like, bro, I'm in the Philippines. He's like, hey, figure it out, man. So exactly what I did. I did some research. I found out who the best doctor was to analyze my blood work. And when I went there, easy process, very easy. They did a deeper dive. They took some more blood work. They really looked at it. They analyzed it. And they came back and said, everything is great, no issues. And they told me the reasons why this was happening. It was very informative and very good. And they spoke immaculate English. Going through a situation like that in a country that you're not familiar with, a country that you're visiting for the first time, could be a very stressful and scary situation, but they made me feel easy. It was a chill, fast, and easy experience. And I really, really appreciated them for the way they took care of me while I was there. Another thing I loved about the Philippines and also Manila, it's a big fitness culture as well, huge fitness culture. So a lot of bodybuilders come from Manila, especially natural bodybuilders come from Manila as well. So there was a lot of people in the gym. The gyms were pretty cheap. They weren't super expensive, but they had all the equipment that I needed. They were open early and closed late. I had everything that I needed. The gyms were really cool. The people there were very cool. It was a really good environment, good vibe. When I travel, going to gyms is a huge part of my experience. So the people that I connect with there sometimes can be very accommodating, can be very welcoming, or they can just stare and make me feel weird. Either way, I'm gonna get my workout in, but the Philippines wasn't that experience. It was amazing. Great people I still keep in touch with to this day. They made my experience great. And I really appreciate that because they didn't have to do that, right? They don't know me from nowhere, but it was a great experience and I really enjoyed it. So that was definitely a highlight, was experiencing the gym culture there. Another highlight, another pro is where I stayed. The BGC, as I mentioned earlier, had everything that I needed. Everything that I needed when it comes to supplements, protein, grocery stores, restaurants, gyms, walkability. Everything that I needed was there. It was a very, very easy transition being in Manila, especially being in the BGC. The BGC Manila was perfect for what I needed. Now, people may not like that type of area. They might want to be more so in the city itself to be able to experience that. That may be more of your vibe. Definitely not my vibe, but the BGC was exactly what I needed. So that was definitely a pro for me. So I can't talk about the pros without talking about the cons. I gotta talk about the cons. So let's talk about the cons. The first thing is, I didn't like the food, man. I'm sorry to all my people of the Philippines and all my Filipino friends. I'm sorry, man. I did not like the food. I did not enjoy the food at all. And I tried the food. It just wasn't for me, man. It was not for me. I am a person who will go and try local cuisine, even though I do a lot of my own cooking. When I traveled in Thailand and Vietnam and Bali, Singapore, Malaysia, all these different places, I tried the food. I did not like the food in the Philippines, man. I am really, really sorry. Again, this is my thing. My family, my background is Jamaican. So when it comes to food, we're very picky, very, very picky. But trust me, I am still a person who will try it. Dee's from Trinidad, so she's just as picky as me, maybe even more so. But we try things, but guess what? Nah, it didn't do it for me, man. I'm sorry, no disrespect. It just wasn't for me. Another thing I didn't like is the traffic, man. I did not like the traffic. Manila is very similar to Bangkok when it's just chaos. You will get stuck in traffic for hours. It don't matter what time you go. Now there are certain pockets where you could, get away with it, but it's still a disaster, man. Seriously, it is a disaster. And I believe in the Philippines, you can't get around on a bike as far as like Grab. So Grab is their version of Uber. I do believe that. So I think you gotta take a car everywhere. In Bangkok and other places where the traffic is heavy, you can jump on a bike or a scooter, which will get you through traffic a little better. But I believe in the Philippines, you can't do that. In the comments, let me know if I'm telling the truth. I may be wrong. But the traffic is insane. It's really bad. And it doesn't matter what time you go. I ventured out in the morning, midday, afternoon, night. Every time was a disaster. The city doesn't sleep, man. It was a really, really busy city and the traffic was just insane. I remember being stuck in a Grab for 2.5 hours and we're only going for 20 to 25 minutes. So another thing I didn't like, and I know this is not everybody's story. I know everybody didn't have the same experience, but I did, was the roach problem. I mentioned it earlier. I went to a lot of really nice accommodations which still had a roach issue. And I'm generally very good at staying away from that. I do a lot of research. I look at the comments, I look at the reviews. I also, go above and beyond to get information on the building and see when the building was built and then also get reviews on the building itself. I did all of that and I still wasn't able to escape the roach issue there. Now, not every accommodation that we had roaches. Some of them didn't, but majority of them did. And that was an issue for me and a concern for me. Even in some of the most expensive and nice areas, which you usually don't see you traveling to the other countries that I've traveled, whether it's Thailand, Vietnam, Bali, Malaysia, Singapore, all these different places. I didn't really experience that there, but I definitely experienced that here. So I can only talk about that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but that was definitely an issue for me and definitely a con for me. I did not like that. And last but not least, not really a con, but if I had to add it to the list, it would be that it was a little bit more expensive than the other places that I visited in Southeast Asia. It wasn't crazy expensive. It wasn't that much more. It's definitely not as expensive as some of the other places I visited. But if you're comparing it as a traveler destination or expat destination compared to the other places, it's definitely a little bit more pricier. And that's because of their American influence and a lot of things of that nature as well. There's a lot of Western culture influence there. So the prices are a little bit higher, a little bit pricier, not that much, but you will feel it if you are staying for a longer period of time. And I definitely felt it as well. Also, where you stay matters, right? I was also staying in the most expensive part of Manila, the BGC. So I understand why those prices are definitely more expensive than other prices as well. I hope that was very informative for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are going to Philippines, I hope you got a lot of information. I hope I was able to help you. If you need any more information, please comment. I will respond to you. And that's it, man. Until next time, I'm out.
When are we gonna understand that we are put on earth